I'm Tatiana, and I'm here with Daniel Pickett from actionfigureinsider.com.
Correct.
And joining us on Skype, all the way from Gotham itself in New York City, is Alexis Ned.
Hi.
There she is, beautiful vision. And she is from Hearst Digital Media. So, we're here tonight to talk about the season premiere of Gotham, what did everyone think in general?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I know people think Gotham has been a rocky road. A lot of people didn't give first season a fair shake, and maybe that's a fair criticism, but I felt like it felt like everyone now is in the same show.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bit of leveling where, Fish Mooney brought it down a bit, and everyone else brought it up a bit. So now it feels like...
Yes, everyone's on the same page.
Right.
Everything is just the right amount of kooky, I think.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing where the season goes.
Absolutely.
Alexis, your thoughts?
I mean, I feel the same way. I feel like people didn't give Fish her due in season 1 because she was too campy and too out there. And then when she was gone in season 2, the show got campier and more out there. So now that she's back on the show, everyone's kind of leveled out. And now they have, they have Man-Bat. They probably have a Killer Croc coming on. They have all this crazy stuff that wouldn't have made sense with the show that it was in season 1, but it's just the perfect level of Gotham insanity happening.
Agreed.
Right
I
now.
love that we have metahumans now who have powers. And speaking of Killer Croc, was that like a proto-Killer Croc in the beginning that Jim...
He looked like Godzilla. He had like Godzilla spikes coming off him.
Killer dinosaur? Yeah.
But I think that's interesting too, because that's not something we've seen where some non-canon villains, which we sort of, at the very end of season 2, when we saw the breakout, they just sort of showed everything in shadow. We saw these weirdly shaped, creatures walking away. So I'm actually okay. That was sort of one of my complaints about season 1, is it felt like it was just too jammed in of, let's get this Batman villain, let's get this, and it just felt like, guys, slow down.
Yes.
So if we can get some non-canon ones in there.
Right, so that we can spread out the kind of like event moments.
Totally fine with that.
I totally agree with that.
Yep.
So, Fish?
It makes the show more unique in terms of the Batman canon.
Definitely.
You're expecting Mr. Freeze and Hugo Strange, but not Stegosaurus Man.
Yes. Okay, so Fish's powers are killing her. So I have a question about this. First off, what do you think about that storyline? And what hold does she have over everyone that they're willing to follow her even though she's dying? Like, is it because she's touched them all? Or is it just that she inspires that kind of respect and fear?
I feel like she just inspires that kind of respect. Because if you remember when she was with the doll maker, she galvanized an entire slave basement full of organ bags to follow her into literal death. I think it's just the kind of person Fish Mooney is.
That's true. I would follow her anywhere if she asked, but sadly, she has not asked me. So.
And that was sort of a question that I asked you while we were watching it, was how long does her power of influence last? Because we couldn't tell when Penguin's putting out the bounty, is he still under the influence and working for her? Is that guy from the season finale still making grilled cheese sandwiches for her? I mean...
That's actually a really good question.
That's what I'm wondering.
So if you guys want to tweet us at #GothamAS, you can tell us what you think, and either now or somehow throughout the week, we will answer with our thoughts as well.
Yes.
So moving on, what did we think about the Gordon and Vale team up? What do you think about Valerie Vale and their plan to find Fish?
My first question was, why did they go with Valerie Vale instead of Vicky Vale, who is a character that we know? And will Vicky show up later? Is it going to be one of those like Lana, Lois things like Smallville, where a cousin shows up?
You know what? Selena is the Lois, so it's fine.
Vicky might be coming later.
Yes.
Okay.
Because Valerie mentioned she has, 3 brothers?
She mentioned brothers,
right. So she definitely, I'm sure they want Vicky Vale to be Bruce's age, and that's why they made it Valerie, which is fine.
One of Valerie's brothers is probably has a daughter named Vicky, who's out there somewhere.
Learning to be a reporter in her high school newspaper.
Yeah.
But I really loved Vicky Vale. I thought Jamie Chung did a great job, and I liked that like she was duped in this episode, but she didn't seem stupid for it. Like I totally would have, I would have fallen for it too, basically.
Okay.
You know, so I thought that was good.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly thought they had good chemistry and an interesting relationship. I hope that it does not sort of marginalize Jim's relationship with Bullock this season, because I really like Donna Loge and that dynamic.
Yeah, I don't. Speaking of that, Jim's not a very good friend.
I felt like he was a better bounty hunter than he was a cop. I mean, he was catching people left and right.
He was a better bounty hunter than cop, but not a great friend to Bullock.
Right.
I started off not liking Bullock at all,
okay.
And then by the end of season 1, probably, I liked him more than Jim. So.
Oh wow.
I've always loved Bullock. He's a weird wild card.
Yes.
I mean, there was that line in this episode where he goes like, "Of course I drink whenever I want," and he's been like that since the first episode of season 1.
Yes. Oh my God, and him and Lucius Fox, like it was just one scene, but that little play in between them, I was like, okay, well, I want the spinoff now. Like that's the buddy cop comedy I want to watch.
Yeah, and that's
using Chris Chalk more.
Yes, he's so great. He has like such great presence.
He really does.
Yeah. He has like the right amount of gravitas.
And it was a great way to keep him involved in this season, now having him work for the GCPD. So.
And it makes sense for his character, considering he was trapped in Indian Hill. I feel like he'd have more of an interest in law enforcement now.
Definitely. So, Club Siren. What do we think about Babs and Tabby?
You know, it had a really nice beat, and I enjoyed dancing to it. I give it a 95.
That was potentially my favorite part of the episode.
Okay.
Just because, I mean, just because they play so well together, and Barbara now, she's just, you know, just totally out there. So I love that she doesn't have to hold back at all. And then Tabitha's like always just like right there with her, you know, nothing's ever too much for her.
But I feel like creating this storyline and this sort of situation for Barbara reels her back in a little bit too. It felt like she was kind of directionless for a while, and they were just saying, well, how bonkers can we make her?
Right, but now they both have a purpose.
Yeah, this seems like a much more focused storyline that, you know, that I think people will enjoy that character even more now.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting how one of the best parts of this episode was with characters that, well, maybe Tabitha might be Tigress, but, you know, 3 of the 4 main characters in that are non-Batman canon.
Yes.
You've got, like, off-the-rails Barbara Keene. You've got Tabitha, and you have Butch Gilzon, who end up being, like, this sort of precious little love triangle that you care about. And has nothing to do with Batman.
Yes. It definitely fleshes out the world. Yeah. And it also, now it's going to provide a new location for villains to gather, or just like cool things to happen in the show, you know, that you're gonna feel connected to. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Gosh, is there anything that I didn't like about this episode? I don't know. Well, normally, okay, Bruce storyline, right? I love Bruce. Bruce and Selena are literally the reason that I watch. But what did we think about the Court of Owls situation?
I'm fascinated to see how they're going to incorporate that into the sort of Gotham mythos, because, you know, if you read the Batman comics, you sort of know that a lot of the emotional impact of Court of Owls is that they have been in hiding for so long under Batman's nose. So if Batman doesn't exist, how does that betrayal sort of exist in this universe? So I'm just curious to see where they go with that.
That's a really good point. What do you? My concern is that since they're bringing Talon into the show, the assassin that comes after Alfred, I feel like they seem like a rehash of the Dumas family from last season, where it's like all-powerful, undercover, legendary assassin. What's different about them for Gotham now?
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think that the plot this episode was that it wasn't off to like a super exciting start. I liked seeing Bruce stand up to his dad's company, but you're right about the assassin. So I don't know. Hopefully they go somewhere different with it, but I don't know.
Yeah, and will there be, you know, multiple Talons?
Yeah.
You know, they sort of, in the comic, they had a bunch in waiting that they trained.
Sort of like multiple Azraels, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, which again, not too different.
Yeah, that is true. Maybe they'll combine them next time. Be like, hello.
Get Talon and Azrael to fight.
Yes.
That would be
There
great.
you go. They can battle each other. Final point, I guess, is Poison Ivy is aging.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yes. But like I think I told you before, I really don't want them to make it like a flirtatious thing with Bruce, just because the actress is actually an adult. So.
He's so young.
He is very
Yeah.
yes.
He acts old, but I mean, he looks 12.
Yeah,
I love you.
he
Dave,
acts
but-
old, he dresses like my dad, but he's still canonically 14.
Yes.
We can't,
So
we can't,
no,
can't
thank
overlook
you.
that.
And that was another thing I noticed in this episode, no turtlenecks for Bruce.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that's a complete wardrobe change from season 2.
Oh. I'm just looking at the feed here, and I just wanted to let Vanita Dottie know, thank you for thinking we're awesome. She just tweeted us to say that the team is awesome.
Oh,
so
thanks.
You're awesome, too, for watching.
You're awesome. We love you.
Now, here's a question from James, Mirror Domains. Do you think people are missing out on the quality of the show because they can't get over the fact that Batman's not in it? What do you think, Alexis? Didn't you have a theory about this?
I have a long-standing Gotham theory back from season 1 that the best thing Gotham could do for itself is to kill Bruce Wayne. Because
I think a lot of people
the
wanted that in
city,
season 1.
the city of Gotham right now is so advanced in its villainy. You know, the Penguin's in his 30s, Victor Zsasz is in his 30s, and Batman's 14. Gotham already needs Batman, and they're not going to get it.
Yeah.
The best thing Gotham could do is to become a complete alternate universe in which Batman never happens.
I
So
mean-
just kill Bruce Wayne,
I
drown
would
him, bash
complain
him
about
on the
it
head.
for a year, but it would be a very interesting show and a very different show if they did that, for sure.
And if they ever did bring Batman in, I mean, it would be, I feel like his job would be a lot easier because he'd be fighting like 45-year-old guys. You know,
Yeah.
they'd be just
I
be
actually-
exhausted.
I think it would be quite a comedy, though. Like,
Yeah.
you would see, if he becomes Batman, like, next season, then you have, like, 15 or 16-year-old Bruce Wayne battling, like, 40-year-olds. I'm ready. I'm ready to see that.
I was assuming he'd take like 10 years into his training.
It's not going to be, but we could do a flash, there we go, you do a flash forward.
Right.
There
And
we
he's
go.
like
At the
chasing
end-
guys up the stairs.
At
and
the
they're
end of every episode, you have a tag of just, like, physically fit Batman fighting the 60-year-olds on, like, just hobbling on their...
yes.
That would be perfect. I think that would just make the show. You guys should do that. Here's another question. What do you think about Bruce's double from Alma Diaz? What do you guys think his role is in all of this? I don't know, we were asking ourselves about that.
Right. Because he learns in this episode who Bruce Wayne is. So he's not that sort of, you know, we saw sort of a zany doppelganger in the season finale with Jim Gordon, but this seems like a much more sort of grounded sort of proto-doppelganger. So yeah, I don't know where they're going with that yet. It's interesting.
I'm so confused.
Yes.
I have no idea what's happening with that.
I definitely assumed it was Clayface at the end of season 2, just because we had seen Clayface become Jim Gordon, and then I didn't know what happened to him. So I was just like, oh, Clayface is Bruce now. But I feel like it's weird that he doesn't know anything about Bruce, if that's the case.
Right.
So maybe it is.
But we don't know if that's Clayface.
Yeah.
Someone have to punch the doppelganger in the face, see if it squishes again, to know if that's the same. If it's a different one.
If
it's
only
a
we could send them a
clone.
smoke signal to know
Yes.
that that's what they need to do.
Somebody punch that kid.
But if not Clayface,
See what happens.
it could have been.
Also, if it were Clayface, he would be wearing a wig the whole time, because Clayface is bald in Gotham. Because they had to put a Jim Gordon wig on
That's
him.
right. Yeah.
That
that's
is
true.
a good point. That is a good point.
So why
And
would they choose that
Right.
Lex Luthor Batman versus Superman wig to put on
It
him?
was the only one that Professor Strange had lying around.
It's the only one
but
Warner Brothers owns.
Professor Strange does have an obsession with Bruce Wayne and his family, right? So
Absolutely.
he could have created a clone, or he could have, in his search to create life again, or whatever he was doing
Right.
last season. I guess he could have made another Bruce Wayne that just happened to get out. It just didn't seem like he didn't really say anything throughout the season that would lead us to believe that he had reached.
Yeah, I feel like he would have mentioned it.
Yeah, maybe.
And first, we didn't actually see Strange at all this episode. They just talked about him, so
Yeah.
we don't know what he's up to this season.
Just poor Miss Peabody. Rest
I'm
in
so
peace.
sad about that. I really liked her character last season.
I liked her too.
And I thought that she was interesting, like her moral ambiguity was really interesting. Because, like, sometimes it seemed like she didn't like going as far as as Hugo did, but other times it was like she was just ready to get everything done and,
Yeah.
you know, so.
But it seemed to, cause, you know, I think a lot of it, we were excited to see her like back, and then
Yeah.
like,
And then she
oh,
died.
now dispatched.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you'll be missed. You'll be missed, Miss Peabody.
Miss Peabody.
Yeah. At least you got to go out in a kind of cool way, you know.
Mummified.
Just let us know what it's like to get your
aged to death.
life force sucked out of you.
Yeah.
By the way, Iris West Allen, thank you for liking my lip color. I hope that the actual Iris West Allen likes it too. So.
This is a great pink.
Thanks. Aw. Well, you look very cute. Oh, when I can see you, you look very beautiful. So I like it. I like it when you're up there on the screen. You're a vision.
No one cares about my lip color.
Well, your lips are all right. It's more your like mustache and beard color that really does it for me.
Thank
You know,
you.
it's like
Very distinguished.
just completes the
My
look.
Harvey Bullock.
Do we have any other final thoughts before we sign off and then go on to the Batcave?
It's going to be a great season.
For me, I think the most important thing we learned, a nice reminder, is that penguins eat fish.
Yeah.
I'm sure that he can think about that when Fish is literally murdering him at the end of the season. Be like, no, penguins eat fish, it's fine.
That's just, I feel like that's foreshadowing
Yes.
that, you know, we're going to see Oswald in a lot more seasons than we see
That's
Fish.
true. That's rude, but true.
True is a lot of Gotham.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching with us, and tweet us any other thoughts you have. #GothamAS. We'll be online, obviously, all week, still talking about Gotham.
Absolutely.
Probably making some Facebook posts, maybe some blogs, I don't know. Whatever we want to do, Daniel and Alexis. So, see you guys next week in Gotham.
All right.
Thanks
See you
for
next
watching.
week. Bye, y'all.
Bye.